5 Gyanendriyas. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are 15 in number.
15.
Then there are then 5 more are the object of senses: sound, touch, form, taste, smell.
Okay.
So there are
Okay.
5.
This also will come under the 24.
This will come under 24.
Okay.
So then it becomes 20.
20. Yeah.
Then mind, intelligence, ego, 23.
Subtle body. Okay.
Then subtle body also consists of Mahatattva.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it becomes 20.
But subtle body is only 3 elements, no problem. Mind,
No.
intelligence.
There is something called Chitta.
Okay.
Chitta is the 4th element. Chitta is more subtler than ego also.
Okay, but normally we say that subtle body is only 3 elements. That's what my doubt actually.
See, generally many times devotees don't count. See, why they say 3 elements, mind, intelligence, ego? Because Krishna has given not that 24. Krishna has given only 8. Krishna has talked about only, if you see in the translation, earth, water, fire, air, ether, intelligence, and folly. Mind, intelligence, ego.
Yes.
That's why they say mind, intelligence, ego. But then there is 4th element also. When we're counting 24, then more elements come in picture. So in subtle body, there's one more element that's called Chitta.
Chit. Okay. Okay. Fine.
Chit basically consists not even of it consists of Mahatattva in mode of goodness. Somewhere it is written, some place it is written mode of passion.
Okay.
Krishna writes mode of passion, that's called Sutra Tattva basically. Mahatattva in mode of passion is called Sutra Tattva. Okay.
Yes, bro. Thank you.
Any other question? Okay. Or you want time? If you don't want time, then I can just start with 28. If you want time to think, they can also tell that they need some time to think. And so we'll just start with chapter number 30. That's the next unit. Okay, fine. So we'll just start with chapter number 30. Seems to do some questions. So after explaining about Bhakti in totality in the middle 6 chapters, now Krishna knows that till we live in this world, then there is a lot of tendency to be attached to this world. In order to be detached from this world, one needs Jnana. So one needs Jnana to be detached from this world. What happened? All devotees have closed down their videos today, except Radha Smriti Mataji. Now also only 2 devotees have kept that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Tanal Pranam. Prabhuji, some confusion was there. I mean, we thought that after exam only you will take the class and this question answer session will be there. So we thought Vinimada Prabhu will be taking, because every time he is clearing the doubts. So like, I think devotees, that's why they are, I mean, some confusion happened, Prabhuji.
Okay.
We didn't knew that you are going to clear the doubts of question answers.
Okay.
And I mean, we were not knowing that today class will be there. We thought after exam only we'll start the classes.
Now that is what I was also informed about. But what happened is, Vinimada Prabhu told me that question answers devotee a lot of questions. So that's why I came for the class. But if they have no questions, then anyway, no, we
We
won't
are
just stop.
having Prabhuji, but I'm sorry, please forgive. We couldn't prepare. I mean, we were in some confusion. Like we didn't knew that you will be there to clear the doubts. So
Okay.
if again.
And for so long, when you go to Golok Vrindavan, Supersoul stays back here only, because Supersoul doesn't have any function in the spiritual world. So, because Supersoul accompanies us here in this world in order to fulfill our material desires. Whereas in the spiritual world, anyway we have very personal dealings with Krishna or Lord Narayan. So when living entity goes back to spiritual world, super soul stays here only, because he doesn't have any function in the spiritual world. And anyway, super soul acts as ultimately expansion of Krishna and Lord Narayan only. So we are with Krishna here, we are with Krishna in the spiritual world also. Okay, Mahabhav Thakurani Mataji, you had a question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu, but usually we have read, right? Like it will be the two people in the two birds, the two parrots, where Krishna sees when the bird will see towards him, and then you want to go back to Godhead. So we will have our own individual thoughts even now as well as in Goloka. So in that case, I was just wondering if the super soul still continues to be with us.
No, see, individual desires are there, and if somebody wants to stay back with with super soul, one can go to the three Vishnus, Garbhodaksha, Karnodaksha, and Sirodaksha Vishnu, and that is as good as spiritual world. But those who have attraction for other forms, like form of Kurma Avatar, Narsimha Avatar, or Krishna himself, then they go to spiritual world. So we have to understand the function of super soul. Function of the super soul is to facilitate the desires of living entities within this material world.
So spiritual desires, if we have in Goloka, the Lord will know himself. That is understanding.
No, can you repeat last?
The spiritual desires that we will have in Goloka, the Lord will know.
No, not just Lord will know.
He'll fulfill.
There's no spiritual desire in the spiritual world which cannot remain unfulfilled.
Okay, bro.
Rather, there are more restrictions here. There are hardly any restrictions in the spiritual world. Like, for example, in the spiritual world, if you want to expand, you can expand in different forms also.
Okay.
In the spiritual world, if somebody wants to, like, immediately present in the other place, one can be present like that. So, no desires remain unfulfilled in the spiritual world. That's called Chintamani Dham. Chintamani Dham is Chinta. Chinta means any desire is there, Chinta is there. That gets fulfilled.
Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, seems there is no other question. Now, Vini Madhaprabhu is on charge.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, that's the question.
Prabhu, one small note. In 7.5 purport, actually Prabhupada is mentioning, so once we leave this material world, like once we leave this material mind, material intelligence, and material ego, after going spiritual world, we will be getting spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence. So as of now, like we have discussed, like mind, intelligence, and false ego, these are material elements. Even if you go to spiritual world also, like we will get spiritual mind and spiritual intelligence. They have to understand too.
We will get means that is already there, but it will become manifest. So all these elements, like here in this world, what happens is material mind, intelligence, ego, and senses are required for us to enjoy sense gratification. That's why spiritual senses are in sleeping state.
Yes.
But as soon as one comes to the level of bhav and prem, then subtle body dissolves. It is given the third canto. Jaryati asuva kosam nigirinam anilam yata. Like the food in the belly is consumed by the digestive fire, similarly, the subtle body is totally consumed. The example is given of that of a coconut. Coconut, when it is wet, then there is water. And the pulp is totally connected to the outer cover, shell.
Yeah.
But as soon as the coconut becomes dry, the water gets evaporated and the white part of the coconut becomes detached from the shell. Then you can hear the sound. So the white part is compared to the soul. The water is compared to the subtle body. And the shell is compared to the gross body. So what happens is, because soul becomes separate from the gross body, there's no need of subtle body. Why? Because internal senses which are part of subtle body, they become manifest. So actual senses are there in the subtle body only. The two, Chakshu and Akshini. One is part of gross body, one is part of subtle body in the mental state. But what happens is, when one becomes spiritually realized, one comes to the level of bhav, these spiritual senses become enlivened. They become manifest.
Okay.
So they work through the gross senses. There is a verse in Bhagavatam, which Dhruva Maharaj speaks. Last Sunday I took that class. Yo anta pravisya mama vacha mimam prasuttam sanjivati akila sakti dhara sadamna annam sahastra charana sramana tvagatin pranam namo bhagavate purusaya tubhyam. So this verse says, Yo anta pravisya mama acham imam prasuttam. You want verse number? I have a book. Yes. So just wait a minute. I'll tell you the reference also. This is 4.9.6. So this verse talks about Yuvanta Parvisamam Vacham Imam Prasuktam. Prasuktam means all means senses, where Prasuktam is sleeping very deeply. Sanjivati Akil Sakti Dhara Sadamna. But because of your touch, what has happened was, you have entered in my heart, all these senses have become active. Like Sanjivani Bhuti, it revives the dead person into alive. So similarly, my senses are enlivened now. Anyam Sahastra Charana Sravana Tvagati. So he gives two examples of Gyanendriya, two examples of Karmendriyas. Hasta and Charan, hands and legs are
Karmendriya.
And Sravan and Tvak, ears and skin, they are Gyanendriyas.
Yes.
Adin means like that, all my senses. Pranams Namo Bhagavate Purusaya Tubhyam. So they all got pran, they have become enlivened now. They're alive. That means my dead senses, which were sleeping till now have become alive. So which are the senses? They are spiritual senses.
Okay.
So spiritual senses, mind, ego is there, but currently we have metal, mind, intelligence, ego. Like there is a true ego and there is a false ego.
Yes.
False ego is that I am this body, I am this utter body, people around me are mine. And true ego is that I have eternal relationship with Krishna. When one realizes that eternal relationship with Krishna, then one gets a true ego. Till then we spiritualize our ego. Like Raseswar Krishna Das or Anand Gaur Sundar Das. Now that may not be our eternal name in the spiritual world. But then we have Christianized our ego by identifying ourselves with Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So it is not like kind of this material mind intelligence and false ego is spiritualizing and becoming spiritual mind intelligence. It is not like that. Material is material, and spiritually there is another mind intelligence and false ego. Both are different.
Both are different till we spiritualize. Till then we spiritualize. Like for example, when we put iron into fire, iron becomes like fire, but doesn't mean it totally turns into fire.
Okay.
As soon as you bring it out of the fire, again it turns into iron.
Yes. So both are different.
Both are different.
Okay. So after leaving here, we will leave this mind intelligence false ego here. After going there, we will accept that mind intelligence false ego as a spiritual mind intelligence.
Spiritual mind intelligence, we don't accept anything. They will become enlivened. They are sleeping now.
Okay.
So, like for example, when a person is working in a JCB, he can work with his hand through JCB, not directly. There's a big hand of JCB. No, hand is only work.
Yes.
But as soon as you come out, then you can personally pick up the mud from your own hand. So that difference.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandatanam. in the 12.2, 3 and 5, 12.5 actually, Krishna says that those minds are attached to unmanifested impersonal future of the Supreme. Their advancement is troublesome. For them, it is very difficult. But still, we can see many people are attracted towards that, Prabhu, that the Brahman realization. They wanted to do meditation. They don't easily accept if that is very difficult, then why people are generally get attracted towards the impersonal form? They say those people who believe that God is there, they don't want to believe that there is a form.
So some people want a hard path, difficult path. Like personally speaking, in one sense, I was also like that one day. Like, why some people, they want to prepare for tough exams and meet challenges in life. So passionate people are like that. I am like that. Somehow,
And
by Krishna's grace, I got ISKCON. Otherwise, maybe I would have become any personalist.
okay, and there is Krishna's, and it is clearly said in the Bhagavad, there is no blissfulness in the when they move towards the impersonal form. It's only they are peaceful, right, Prabhu? In that when they move towards the Brahman realization, they feel the peacefulness. The blissful part is only with when we get connected to Krishna.
No, see, bliss part is there because ultimately everybody has an eternal connection with Krishna, in the sense that everybody is such as Ananda. Ananda part is a part of bliss. But main thing is, it is just small Anand, atomic Anand, where Krishna is oceanic Anand. So that's why, as compared to the pleasure of sense gratification, the pleasure of Brahmananda is like ocean, is oceanic. Or it is said that one drop of Brahmananda is greater than the ocean of material pleasure. But then one drop of Krishna Prem is greater than the ocean of Brahmananda.
Okay. So I was, it's now clear, Prabhu, because I was wondering if there is no blissfulness, then how come these people are getting, wanted to go there and in a Brahman realization? Okay, now I understood. When compared to the material pleasure, it is far more higher than the
And material pleasure is more of a removal of suffering. So what happens is, generally our senses become agitated. When senses are agitated, it's a state of suffering. And when senses come in contact with sense objects, that agitation goes away for some time. That's like removal of suffering. And removal of suffering in this world is called pleasure. Like my tongue wants to taste something very nicely. I'm agitated. I'm very miserable. As soon as I get something in my tongue, what I desire, it goes away for some time, and that's called pleasure.
But it again comes back now, Prabhu. Again, the same thing happens. The same desire again comes again and again.
Yeah. Because main thing is, unless until one comes in contact with Krishna, one cannot be totally satiated. It's like somebody is very thirsty in the desert and you get one drop of water. So one drop of water cannot quench your thirst. You may relieve your heat of your tongue for some time.
Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Last week they posted one question here regarding third chapter 12th sloka Prabhu. It is mentions that in charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of the yajna, so will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods, in return, certainly a thief. So it is saying that without offering to them, means the demigods, is that is their question. Is supposed to be offered to the Krishna, but here in translation is mentioning that without offering them means the demigods, he is a thief.
Yeah, so without offering to demigods, actually it's literally demigods only, because this particular section is talking about Karma Kanda. This section is not talking about Niskam Karma Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga, etc. It's actually related to demigods only. But then devotees understand that demigods are also part and parcel of Krishna. Like now, in Pursukta it comes. Yes, sir. Chandro Manasa Jayata. So like that, now this all these verses are given. The Chandrama is the mind of Virat Purusha. Sahastra Sirasa Purusa Sahasraksha Sahasrapa. One who has thousands of hands and legs and heads. So for that Lord, Chandra is his mind. Suro Chakshur Ajayata. And Surya is the eyes of the Lord. So in this way, if you are feeding a person, automatically all the senses of the person are enlivened. Similarly, when one satisfies Lord Vishnu, automatically all other demigods are satisfied. So that principle is there. But literally for people who cannot see that connection, they directly talk with, they directly deal with demigods only. It's like within a government, ITR department is there, income tax return. So we are supposed to pay to income tax department for whatever income we have got. Similarly, when we are taking water from the government, so then that department is there, we pay there. Similarly, we consume electricity from the government. So then there's electrical board, we pay to the electrical board. Like in Calcutta, we have CSC. So that's individual, but when you are paying to all of them, ultimately one is paying to the same government. One is paying to state government or central government. So one is paying to government of India, same government. So if somebody says that I'm paying to government only, that's enough. That's okay. And many times it happens also, like I don't know whether the system is there in currently in government, but if you give donations, then a tax reduction is there. Like we have a TG. So if you are, because you're directly doing the work which government is supposed to do. Government is supposed to do some social service, some welfare for the people by the funds which we get. And one is already doing that work of government, then government says no problem. You're doing my work, you'll get tax reduction. Because ultimately it will go to the whole process of going to government, getting counted, this, that, and ultimately going to the people. Whereas you're directly doing the work which government is supposed to do. So similarly, somebody is directly doing the work of Lord Vishnu, and he doesn't have to go through the medium of different demigods. Otherwise, it's literally demigods. Okay, Raseswar.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, in shloka number 6.39, here in purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that there are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence, therefore they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in promotion to the higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrificial all forms to so-called material happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a ribbon cloud. Like that, Prabhupada mentioned in purport.
Oh, this is 6.38 or 39? Which one?
6.39, bro. 6.38. I'm sorry. 6.38.
Ah, that's why I was like, okay.
The first, like 4 to 5 lines of purport.
Okay, Lord is Prabhupada is basically explaining about this Karma Yoga and somebody gives up Karma Yoga, at the same time he's not able to follow Dhyana Yoga. See what happens in, if you remember when I showed the chart, so there are Yog Aruruksu is there, Yog Arun is there. So Yog Aruruksu, he does Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar along with Niskam Karma Yoga. So if you are doing Sakam Karma Yoga, he would have gone to heaven. If he was performing Niskam Karma Yoga, he would have achieved Brahman. And but when one goes to Yoga Arun state, one gives up Niskam Karma Yoga. There is cessation of work. That means there is no possibility of progress to transcendence or Swargaloka by the practice of Niskam Karma Yoga. But let us say somebody finds Ashtanga Yoga is too difficult and he's not able to pick it up wholeheartedly. So what Prabhupada is saying, then what will happen to such a person? He will neither progress through Ashtanga Yoga and get Brahman, nor will perform Sakam Karma Yoga to get Swarga, nor he would perform Niskam Karma Yoga to get Brahman. So what will happen is neither this person will get Brahman, nor this person will get Swarga. So he will be like a raven cloud in between. That was actually question of Arjuna. That's not the actual reality. So what Lord speaks in 40, text number 40. No, Arjuna, it is not, there is no loss. So the person will not meet the inauspicious path. So Lord clarifies. But in this particular purport, Prabhupada is clarifying the doubt of Arjuna. But having given up Niskam Karma Yoga and Sakam Karma Yoga, this fellow will not get any result. And he is not able to succeed and wholeheartedly take up Ashtanga Yoga. So earlier he thought he can do it. But later on he finds it's very difficult. So then he's nowhere. It's like, sometimes some student, what happens is they don't take a job when the companies come in the college. Because they said, no, we'll prepare for IAS exam. Now what is of IAS, even the state level exam, you're not able to qualify. So you've given and you try for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So neither you're good for job, nor you're good for that. So you're nowhere.
Okay, bro. Thank you, bro. Now I understood. This one, while reading Prabhupada purport, like I thought of asking, like, what could be the destination of that person, and so what are the thoughts of that particular person? If we get this type of people, so how to preach them? Like, so we have seen, like, the people, they will be reading all the scriptures, and they will be reading the scriptures in Advaita Vada. They will be reading scriptures in Dvaita Vada. They will be reading in scriptures in all the scriptures. They will be having little idea in everything, like something knowledge in everything. So if we try to preach also, they will be talking against from the philosophy from other things, other philosophies. So I just implied, these kind of people will be like this, those kind of people only Prabhupada is talking about in this purport.
No. In this purport, Prabhupada is not talking about it. Prabhupada is more talking about a person who is in yoga root stage, but he is not able to take up the process very wholeheartedly. What you are talking about is different. That Prabhupada will talk later on. I think this is chapter number 17 or 16.
Okay.
So chapter number 16, last verse is there. So there's one verse, Sansaya Atma Vinasati. So what you are talking is that. Okay, just a minute.
Tasmat Pramanam te karya vyavasthitam.
Now this is about scriptures. There is one more verse which talks about Sansaya Atma Vinasati. So it's chapter number 15 or I think so. You can just, somebody can put Sansaya Atma Vinasati. Anyway, so I'm not able to find the verse. So there Lord talks about, Prabhupada talks about which type of people cannot achieve the Lord. So among them there are three types. And one of them is, or it is in chapter number, first 6 chapters only.
442.
Just a minute. 440? I think it was there only, yes. Yes, yes.
440 and 9.32 are there.
No, 440 we are talking about. So there are three types of people given there. Agyas. Agyas means who don't know scriptures. Then Sastri means these people, they know scripture, but they don't have faith in scriptures. And third type of people are Samsaya Atma Vinasati, means Samsaya, they have faith in scriptures also, but they're not very clear about path. They say something is given here, something else is given here, something else is given in the third place. So then let me not follow anything, because it is so confusing. So you are talking about Samsaya Atma Vinasati. So they will come more relevant to this verse, 4.42. Okay.
So for those type of people, like, is there no, what is the way to preach them, bro, to bring them in Krishna consciousness?
We can show them verses like Akama, Sarva Kamo Va, Moksha Kamo Dharvi, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena 8%. You have no material desires, full of material desires, no desire for moksha, do bhakti very nicely. Or there is another verse, Eta Nirvidyamayana, Mikshitam Ekato Bhayam, Yoginam Nibnirnita, Hare Namanu Kirtanam. So Etam Nirvidyamayana means one has no material desires. Ikshitam. Ikshitam means one is filled with material desires. So Akato Bhayam, they can be fearless by Yoginam Nirnita, Hare Namanu Kirtanam, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, incessantly following the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So whatever situation, bad situation one may be, by constant chanting of the holy names, one can be just be saved. So that is how these verses, they are verses which encompass all these confused fellows. Whatever may be there, do bhakti nicely, chant holy names nicely. The process is same.
Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Thank you, bro.
Okay, any other question?
This is my question. Regarding Mayavadis and impersonalist group, there are also, like now, as we discussed, Nishkama, Sakama, in that also many varieties of people are practicing in yoga. Similarly, impersonalist also will be having a, like, very hatredness towards the Lord, or okay, like that, maybe little closer to the Lord. So like that, some stages are there, bro. Is there any?
See, impersonalist, when we say impersonalist, basically means those who aspire for impersonal Brahman. They can be Karma Yogis, Jnana Yogis, Ashtanga Yogis. Those all three of them, they aspire for impersonal Brahman. So they can all come in the category of impersonalist. Anyway, there are three categories: Karma Yogis, Jnana Yogis, Ashtanga Yogis. Now among Jnanis also there are four categories of Jnanis. So among four types of Jnanis, one category is there who they don't take path of bhakti at all. So for them, Brahmaji, he speaks a verse. So what is that verse? Sriya Sitam Bhakti Mudassite Vibho Klessanti Ye Kevala Bodha Labdate Esam Asok Klesal Evisate Nanat Yatha Stula Kusavagatina. So Sriya Sitam Bhakti Mudassite Vibho Klessanti Ye Kevala Bodha Labdate. So those who give up bhakti altogether, which is long-term beneficial. So for them, what they get from their practice of jnana is only klesa. Klesa means misery. So they say nana destastul kusavagatina. It's like beating the empty husk. What you get is only pain. So this is one category of people is there. Now better than that is people who practice bhakti along with jnana. So these people don't get actually Brahman also. Those who think that bhakti is not required. Now the people who are like better than that are second category people who are lesser condemned than them, but they are also condemned. They are the people who practice bhakti for getting the result of their jnana, that is Brahman. And after getting Brahman, they give a bhakti. Na yujamaya bhaktya bhakti aklatmani sadrasti sevasanta yoginam brahma sadhya. Unless until one practices bhakti along with karma jnana yoga, one will not get the perfection of getting Brahman. So this is second category of people. One is. Third category of jnanis, which are praiseworthy, is given in this 7th chapter, last verses. Jara, Maran, and Mokshaya. So those who are fearful of Jara, Maran, old age and death, Mokshaya, they want to get free from that. So then these people, what they do is, they practice only bhakti, but for the purpose of getting Brahman. So the result is that even in the last stage of death, they are not bewildered and they get their Brahman very easily as compared to other Gyanis. Other Gyanis may take many lifetimes, thousands of lifetimes. But this fellow will get Brahman in one life only, or much more fast in few lives. So they are even praiseworthy. But fourth category of Gyanis are the Gyanis who, after practicing bhakti along with Gyan, later on give up Gyan and take to bhakti. So their personalities like Sukdev Goswami and Satish Kumar, they are considered most praiseworthy. So for them this verse is there. Atma Rama Samunyo Nirganti Apurukrame Kurvanti Ahetkum Bhakti Ittam Bhut Guru Hari. So they're Atma Ramas, they're self-realized souls. Chamunyo Nirganti Apurukrame, and they don't have any material knots, no material attachments. But Urukrame, Apurukrame, still they worship Urukrama, and they do their Kurvanti Ahetkum Bhakti. Why? Because Ittam Bhut Guru Hari. They become very much attracted by the divine qualities of the Lord. So there are four categories of Gyanis. Okay.
Reshna Prabhu, the second and third category, what is the difference? Can you repeat, Prabhu? First one is one who don't believe in bhakti process at all. But the second and third one is little. Fourth one is completely clear because they, after getting bhakti, they will give up this jnana yoga and other things.
Second category people, they practice bhakti very little, whereas they practice Gyan process more. Gyan process, what is Gyan process? Gyan process means reading Gyan Sastras like 24 elements, practicing brahmacharya, taking bath in cold water, leading a life of moral goodness. So for them, bhakti part is very little. But these people, third category people, they practice bhakti alone, but not to get Krishna, to get Brahman.
Clear.
Raseswar Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 5th and 6th shlokas, like it is telling like Sankhya Yoga and both Bhakti Yoga, devotion service and the analytical analysis. So for both the destination is same. Like that we are trying to understand.
This is something which I told you in beginning classes and many classes. Prabhupada has explained everything as Bhakti Yoga. Okay. Whereas when we were discussing Jnana Yoga as Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga as Ashtanga. They're not same. Destination of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga is same. What is that? Brahman. When Prabhupada is saying Sankhya Yoga, Prabhupada is talking about the Sankhya Yoga given by Kapil Dev. That begins with Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, but ends in Bhakti Yoga. For them, the ultimate destination is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when we are talking here about Jnana Yoga, literally, if you talk about Sankhya Yoga, is basically talking about Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, the destination is Brahman,
Brahman.
and destination for Karma Yoga is also Brahman. So from that point of view, it is same. But destination of coupled Sankhya Yogi and a Bhakti Yoga is same. That's personal God.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Like here one, like what is the difference between no Kapila, the Lord Kapil Dev Sankhya Yoga and other Sankhya Yoga?
Other Sankhya Yoga is just Jnana. It has no. It takes only that much part of Bhakti which is required for getting Brahman. Sankhya Yoga is do like that. Whereas the Sankhya Yoga given by Kapil Dev is, if that no one may take up Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, but ultimately he proposes that one should take to Bhakti Yoga. So there is a huge difference between them.
True?
There is a huge difference between both of them.
Huge difference. Okay.
In the sense that he talks about both the things, but then he inspires people to take to Bhakti Yoga only.
Okay. Yeah, now I understood, Prabhu. But why I have confused is in the 5.4 in the translation, Prabhupada translation, only the ignorant speak of devotion service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieve the results of both. So, and the next following translation, one who knows the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service. And one who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. So means by this translation, we can understand that analytical study means Sankhya Yoga, like mean Kapila Dev Sankhya Yoga and devotional service. Bhakti Yoga both are on the same level and we can get same destination. Like is our understanding is correct, bro?
Yeah, right. But Kapil Dev, when you say Kapil Dev, means complete teachings, not just partial teachings. Because Lord Kapila has given some chapters which are just Jnana Yoga only. They have nothing to do with Bhakti. Okay, so even third canto is like that. So if you take complete teachings of Kapil Dev, then we'll get the same result as Bhakti. Okay.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, my question relating to 9.20 to 9.25. It's question more asking in the perspective of practicality and preaching purpose. Okay, so we all very much understood that 9.22 to 25. What is the ultimate destination if you worship Krishna, if you worship demigods? It's very clear. Now we are very confident. Okay, we are last 35 years we are doing some kind of activities. Now we have got very clear clarity that how we need to worship, where we need to worship. So recently we have raised one question by understanding of Bhakti Shastri classes. So sometimes we also do worship of demigods because of to establish some kind of dharmic activities, and people at least turn to mode of goodness, and we'll get an opportunity to speak about Supreme Lord. For example, Diwali, we will that particular day we'll worship Goddess Lakshmi and Ganesh, and we'll take opportunity to try to preach and all. But ultimately our worship also to reach Krishna destination, Krishna Bhakti. Okay. So when we ask this question, now one of the forums, the question is like this: can we approach, or can we, whenever we cross any temple, demigod temple, can we pray to the demigod stating that, can you please give us Krishna Bhakti to us? Then the answer what we got from senior person is, we are completely abandoned worshipping demigod. Why? Because demigods are devotees of Lord Vishnu, not for the Krishna. That is what the statement has come. And we understood in the Bhakti Shastri, Krishna himself as a Vishnu. For our low level understanding is that Krishna is at home and Vishnu will be in the office. How it is? So it's the same. Krishna and Vishnu is same, but it is coming from Krishna. That's very clear. So now, straightforward, the statement is that demigods are the devotees of Vishnu. So if you worship them, you will go to Vishnu Loka, not Krishna Loka. That's how. Then my immediately got a lot of questions in my mind. Then we are also worshipping Tulsi Devi, and there we are talking about Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi. When we talk about, some people also termed as a Krishna Bhakti Prati Devi, and we also worshipping for the devotional. Our devotion should be strong and should not be choken up by anyone. So we worship Lord Nrsingadev, okay, in the form of Krishna. So now the question is, the statement is made that we will not approach demigod for Krishna Bhakti also. That only, I don't know, I got into a lot of confusions now. That gives, at least for me, it's very difficult. Just completely avoiding when we crossing some demigods, not even seeing that, and taking blessing for Krishna Bhakti, completely abandoning means it's little difficult. If you ask me, my son, he's just started, he don't know anything. He know only one Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. So he'll be very confident. So we cross about 35 years and we associate with so many other people. Suddenly we step out stubborn means it will not be giving a proper Krishna conscious to others. I may be becoming an odd man out of them, and I will not get the opportunity to speak about Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the questions running in my mind, Prabhu, how to understand.
So this verse is Mahajana Yen Gata Sapanta. We follow in the footsteps of Mahajanas. So when we follow in the footsteps of Mahajanas, we find that ultimately we are supposed to follow Lord Chaitanya. So what did Lord Chaitanya do when he went for South India too? So we find that he went to Meenakshi temple. He also went to the temple of Lord Shiva in Bhubaneswar. He went to all these temples. But then what did he do there is he did Harinam Sankirtan. So that's why even our predecessor Acharyas and Mahaprabhu himself, they did go to all these temples. So in this way, we don't condemn demigod worship. But main thing is when you ask from demigod, you should know what you should ask. Like when Kuvera was enraged by too much of killing of the Yakshas, Dhruv Maharaj stopped because Manu said that no, Kuvera will become very angry. But when Kuvera came, what did Dhruv Maharaj ask? He said that my devotion towards Lord Vishnu should not be deterred. And even for Krishna Bhaktas, you find Bhaktivinoda Thakur worshipping Suryadev, Surya Narayan. And then if you go to Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, the temple of Surya Narayan there. So it's not that our acharyas have not worshipped demigods, our acharyas have also worshipped. And Mahaprabhu himself would visit the temple, but the goal has to be very clear. Goal is Krishna Prem. So when the goal is Krishna Prem, what to say of demigods? One can approach any materialistic person, any Rakshasa, and pray to him that please give me Krishna Bhakti. Because by his blessings, even we get little more advancement in Krishna consciousness. It's good only, na? So it's not, generally new people are many times prohibited from going to demigod temples. They are spoken like that. And the reason is that they have the tendency to fulfill that material desires by approaching demigods. It's like a new devotee who was drunkard before. And you tell him that no, bro, you do book distribution in front of a liquor house. There's a great chance that no, he will leave the books and pick up the one bottle again. But for one who has no attraction for liquor, he can always go in front of a liquor house and distribute books and can't have it. So that's why the process in itself is not condemned. But one should know that if that tendency is there to ask material desire, fulfillment material desires from demigods, then one should not do. So generally what happens when an answer is given in a common forum, generally it is given to people who have just picked up Krishna consciousness. So that's how you may sometimes find devotees speaking very strong answers so that people don't become deviated. But that may not be applicable for people who are already fixed in Krishna consciousness. They know Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prem is the goal of life. So for those people, it's not required. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's clear. So worshipping Vishnu doesn't mean that it's not Krishna, no, Prabhu. All demigods are not under guidance of Krishna, or only under guidance of Vishnu.
No, they are in guidance of Krishna also, because ultimately Krishna and Vishnu are not different.
That's what. Yeah.
There's difference in mood, but there's no difference. There's no difference in what you say, personality. Personality is same.
Correct. Yes.
The main thing is connection. If you are able to see that connection, then it's Krishna Bhakti.
Yes.
So what seems to be valuable, if you doesn't see the connection with Lord, then that's called Maya.
Yes. Thank you so much. Very clear.
Okay. Any other question?
Prabhu, if no questions, maybe you can tell in the questions what they're supposed to write the open book. The two questions and one question, so they will prepare that.
Okay. So you can tell me the questions. What are the questions of which I gave for open book? One was Ati Chitrashloki Bhagavad Gita, and other was 8.14, as far as I remember.
Prabhu, it's already informed them, everyone. Because I was not there.
So one was question on 8.14. And that's what I remember. I don't know whether I gave, didn't give, I don't remember. Because a lot of batches are going on. I forget. Somebody remembers whether I have gave or didn't give? I didn't give till now.
No problem. As per my knowledge, no problem.
Okay, so just a minute. What are these?
Open book questions are not given.
So, wait a minute. So I don't know my Bhakti Sastri book and your Bhakti Sastri book is same or not. Because we had a lot of versions of. So just a minute. So I'll try to display the questions. Vinimada Pro, you know, do you remember the
My exam, bro.
No, not your exam. Questions I still remember. But main thing is I am fearful that now our versions should not be different. The version which I am showing. Of course, now in the later version there are more questions, not lesser ones.
We are using 4th edition, Prabhu, 2018.
Okay, I don't have the 4th one. I have the older one. But still, this question will be certainly in the older edition also. So I'll just display it.
Okay.
9th question is Chatusloki, about Chatusloki, personal application.
So one question which I expect is this question number 5. Explain your words, how is the statement, a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by devotion service, reflects Prabhupada's mood. Give reference to Bhagavad Gita 8.14 and purport in your response. This is one question.
Yes, bro. Same question in the 4th edition.
Okay. And question
9th
number
question.
5. Yes. So question number 5 and
9th question
number
is
9.
yes.
Chaturshloki. So we expect devotees to do question number 5 and question number 9. Now in question number 5, what I expect is, I'll let you know. So Prabhupada writes that the pure devotee can live anywhere and create atmosphere of Vrindavan by devotion service. You can reflect Prabhupada's mood that how did Prabhupada did it practically in his presence while preaching in this world. So you can give examples like that from there.
Is it from Prabhupada's life history that we have to?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can give reference from Prabhupada Leelamrit.
Okay.
And both in terms of Prabhupada's activities as well as from whatever Prabhupada did practically. I'll just give you a small hint, like Prabhupada created New Vrindavan, etc. So in that line you can write. So that's more expected in question number 5. So you can take some shipments from 8.14 purports, verse and purport, and elaborate how Prabhupada fulfilled those things in his mission. Is that clear? Question number 5.
Anybody has any question? Please ask now only. Later going back and getting it. So question number 5 is the first one, and question number 9 is the second one. So Prabhu is explaining about the 9. So how to write also Prabhu is explaining. Please check.
Yeah. So question number 5. So but be very careful that you should give some references also from Leelamrit, from 8.14 verse and purport. Because in every question, references carry 30 to 40% of the marks. And don't write things like, I heard somewhere that Prabhupada did like that. You can give reference from Prabhupada Leelamrit or Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, some Prabhupada. So don't just write in here because there are many pastimes of Prabhupada's which might have not be pastime actually. So you can refer to any book of Prabhupada. Like there's Our Glorious Master is there, Prabhupada Leelamrit is there. So a lot of books are there on Prabhupada. So you can refer to any of the books, there's no problem. But should be some book by Prabhupada disciple where he's writing memories. My memories of Srila Prabhupada is there. So different devotees have written different books. Then my Prabhupada, I think Loknath Maharaj has written. So you can refer to any of these things. Okay. For Our Glorious Master, you can write. Now then, so is that clear? Question number 5. If it is okay, then I'll explain on question number 9. Seems to be clear. So now we'll talk about question number 9. Question number 9, you have to pick up Sanskrit words, phrases from 4 verses, Supersoul Bhagavad Gita. Something from Prabhupada's purport, some statements. And you have to write personal application. Personal application means how will I use it for improvement of my Krishna consciousness. Now devotees do 2 mistakes in that. 1 mistake or 3 mistakes I would say. 1 mistake is many times devotees don't give references at all. That means you are making your answer into 0. Second thing sometimes devotees do is they speak general statements. General statement means we should all do like that. I don't want what we should do. I want to know what you want to do. So this second mistake which devotees make. Now some people they make a very minor mistake. What they do? I did like that. I don't want to hear what you did. I want to hear what you will do. So you write, I am lacking in this way. This statement, how I am going to apply it for my further progress in Krishna consciousness. So that has to be what I'm expecting in your answer. And apart from me, nobody is going to read your answers, so you don't have to worry. But write your personal application, how you are going to improve. So don't write what everyone should do. or your wife should do, husband is writing, or wife is writing, husband should do, or both of them are writing, now children should do. We want to hear what you are supposed to do. Second thing is, we don't want to hear what you had done. We want to hear what you will do. That's very important. And give proper references from that in from four slokas of Bhagavad Gita. You can write Sanskrit phrases. Actually speaking, you should have some Sanskrit words, some phrases, some meaning should be there, and something from Prabhupada proposal. That makes the answer very strong. And if you make it point-wise and very clear, you will get very good marks. If you want me to go and search out where is the answer or try to predict what answer is supposed to be there, then you don't attract so much marks. And general marking scheme of open book is, if you write everything completely, you get 70% marks. If it is very good, it's good, then you get 80% marks. If it's excellent, you get 90%. So that is how, so open book is little strict than closed book. And we have been told very clearly that only if Lord Chaitanya comes and writes exam, then he'll get 10. 100%. So that's what Atul Krishna told us the scheme, marking scheme. Everything completes me 70%. Okay. But generally, I saw that devotees get 80-85% also. If they are like, they use a little bit of effort. Okay, fine. Finish with question number 5 and 9. Any questions on your questions? Seems things are very clear. Okay, fine.
Closed book exam. We can have next weekend too, because then followed weekend we have a Panihati and so many festivals. It won't be possible. If everybody okay, today is Saturday, tomorrow Sunday, and if everybody is okay, we can have a closed book exam on Sunday. You all can decide, or in weekdays, because next weekend definitely it's not possible. No, Hosur temple opening, and maybe Jayapatak Swami Maharaj also may be in the city. So again, 2 weeks means you can delaying further delays the third module. So you all can say yes or no for next week. So we'll go with the next week exam. Closed book exam. Last time also you wrote on. I think you know very well. There will be few. How many questions are there?
So it's on 5th, Prabhu.
Now today is 28th. 28th means 5th. Yes, Prabhu.
Oh.
5th. So around.
When we are giving that, we do not.
29 questions. 29 questions are there. It may not be difficult to prepare. Just 30 questions. You can sit and prepare nicely. Can be attended on Sunday. Is that okay, everyone? Who are there at least here? Parmanand
Fine,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. 5 is okay, Prabhu. 12 is challenging.
Okay, so can we consider as the approval of everyone? In that case, Prabhu will give us a question paper. Okay. Okay, most of them are saying yes, Prabhu. So we can go with Sunday closed book exam, and the follow maybe one Sunday we'll give a gap, and by next Sunday they'll
start a third module. Yeah.
Prabhu, 5th Prabhu closed books exam.
Yes, Mataji. Next Sunday, not tomorrow.
When we are giving that,
next
we
Sunday.
do not.
Bro, sloka, the stroke.
Sloka. Yes. Maybe Yes, simultaneously we can start. I'll speak with Venudhari Prabhu also. But first preference, you can prepare for the closed book exam. If you complete, or if simultaneously also, both you can done. 1 week, 2 weeks time will be there. In 2 weeks, before 2 weeks time, complete this sloka test. Sloka also, I think same place, same page will be there. How many are there? Okay. Yeah, I'll post the message, Prabhu. Simon, from today only sloka test can be started. Next Sunday we'll have a closed book exam, and followed one Sunday we'll leave, and next Sunday we can have a due date for open book submission.
Okay, you can end it. At least I can leave.
Nobody has any. Anybody has any questions, or will Prabhu already 9 o'clock? No, yesterday Prabhu was Srimad Bhagavatam class. Prabhuji, for us also sometime online Bhagavatam class. No.
I can give.
Prabhu, that sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. Kalyan Prabhu answer we are unable to grasp, Prabhu. Your voice is so low. Could you just repeat it, the answer to that? Or anybody else can post it in the WhatsApp also, if you don't have time.
No, Kalyan Prabhu was asking question was like, what is our role when we go to the demigod or nearby demigod temples? Shall we worship him? What should we ask? That Prabhu said no clearly. There are many ways. Now, Kalyan Prabhu also asked that is a Vishnu or Krishna? So obviously Krishna, Prabhu said. There are many prayers Vishnu comes. Why?
Yeah, so what I spoke is that if somebody is a new person, better not to go. And if somebody is like already practicing for 10, 12 years and is very fixed in practice of Krishna consciousness, so one can go there but pray for Krishna Bhakti. But those who have been like already having background of always going in front of Saraswati and asking for getting good marks, going in front of Ganesh and asking for auspiciousness, going in front of Lakshmi and asking for money. So for them we recommend that such devotees, you don't go, otherwise same thing will come out. But those who have been practicing for 10, 12, 15 years and they are like very fixed in only Krishna Bhakti, then you can go to Demigod temple and ask for Krishna Bhakti. So Mahaprabhu would go, do Sankirtan. He will, Bhaktivinoda Thakur went to Suryadev and he asked for good health so that he can preach. Gopis worshipped Katyani and asked for Krishna as the husband. So they could do that because they are already fixed. So those who are fixed can do, no problem. So it depends. Time, place, circumstances, and candidate. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki baat ki.
Hare Krishna. So please, I thought everybody will come with so many questions. Huh? So you could have prepared and come. It will be nice if you ask. Any questions can be asked because question and answer session. But still, many devotees asked. When we read now, or when we try to preach by reading Prabhupada purport, so many doubts. Those doubts can be cleared. What is the feedback? Everybody is okay, liking Prabhu classes? Understandable. Any feedback anybody want to say? Because another 2 modules are there. 2.5 module. Final module of Bhagavad Gita and Nectar of Devotion. What else? Nectar of, Ishopanishad. 3 books. So now, Hare Krishna. Kalyan Prabhu, will you mute Lakshmi Mataji? So somehow at least 25 devotees should minimum get Bhakti Sastri certificate from KR Puram and medal, both together. So 35, 40 was attending initially. That's come down. Now 25, 28, 30, they're attending. Maybe please continue.
Probably